Yeah, g'day guys, Steve from Dirt Bike ADV here. Don't know if you guys have watched any other of my other videos. I've turned a 480 enduro bike into an ADV bike, and got that to the point where I was happy with it and felt like that I couldn't improve it anymore. I did a bit of a wrap up on that recently and talked about the limitations of using an enduro bike as an ADV bike. While they're great to ride and they're lightweight, they are limited. As I said in the video, they're not an interstate bike you're going to ride interstate, do sort of 400 to 800 k's in a day. They are a little bit limited, and I talked about wanting to upgrade to a bigger bike, something that's going to do the road kilometres and the highway kilometres a bit easier. So I did a video also too on which bike, which brand, and talked about how I choose my bikes, how I in fact chose the Beta 390 as well as the KTM that I have here now. So I went through a whole process and talked about all the important things for me and what bikes were a viable option for me, and basically come down to the AJP and the 690 here, and the AJP is currently not available in Australia, so that ticked that one off the box. And so I decided to go with a pre-19 690. A mate of mine heard that. He knew someone that was selling one. He didn't have to advertise his, and so I just rang him up and said, yep, I'll take it. That's about exactly what I want. This is a 17 model, 12th of 17 actually. Now, I talked about the 480 in the wrap-up and how it was a stock bike. Now, it's very easy to say that's not a stock bike. It's got a fairing on it. It's got an aftermarket exhaust. It's got a Fastway stand. It's got bark busters on it and all that sort of stuff. But when I talk about a stock bike, I'm talking about the mechanicals of the bike. The bike itself, I guess the roots of the bike. So with this 390 and doing research with these bikes, there is actually a lot of work you have to do to turn them into an ADV bike. That's not a criticism of KTM. They are probably one of the bigger innovators in the market. They're the first ones to put fuel tanks underneath tank seats as far as I'm aware, and they've just produced this bike that's really just got its own little niche in the market. Maybe the 650 DRZ is a competitor, but this is certainly a more powerful and more modern bike. But I talked about the 480 being stock. Essentially the engine, the drivetrain, the airbox, all that sort of stuff is all stock. I mean, obviously I had the bolt-ons. With a KTM 690, there's a lot of things you have to do to sort of get them up to speed, so to speak. A couple of things have been done to this one already. So the O2 delete has been done. The kickstand delete's been done. I've bought an ABS dongle for it, or it came with an ABS dongle actually. The airbox mod's been done, so you need to improve the way that these bikes breathe. And so all those things, the other thing is the exhaust. The exhaust on these are a massive catalytic converter exhaust, so you just simply have to take the exhaust off. They just are a bit of a joke. They get very, very hot and they weigh a lot, so everyone does the exhaust. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about stock bikes and bikes being essentially stock. There's a lot of things you have to do before you talk about carrying luggage, before you talk about wind protection and quad locks and all that sort of stuff. There is a lot of stuff to do with the bike. The 480, I didn't really have to do much. I just did the add-ons, the bolt-ons, so to speak. So obviously to this bike, we're going to add the things that I've done, added to the 480. That's wind protection. I've gone from a Rade garage screen protector for it. Excuse the mess in the background, guys. Got a bit of a project car going there at the moment as well too, and a bit of stuff going on. But I've got the Rade garage tower. That's a lovely light looking tower. On the 480 I went for the Nomad, but I didn't necessarily get very good service with the Nomad. So I've gone with Rade Garage this time. Their system is a lot more plug and play too, which is what I was a little bit disappointed with the Nomad. So we've got a Rade tower coming for it. I've also gone for the Rade auxiliary tank that replaces the airbox. So that adds another 6 litres, and that gets this fuel range of this motorbike up around the 400 kilometres, which is more than enough for me. But just with the stock tank, it's got a 12 litre tank in the rear. Not quite enough. It's probably okay. You might get 300 k's out of it. Certainly with the 6 litres, it doesn't change the aesthetics of the bike. Doesn't change the, the feel of the bike. Nothing changes between your legs, but it certainly gets you up around more like the 400k range. So I'm really happy with that. Obviously, I went with the Rade version of that, of course, the auxiliary tank. So Rade Tower and Rade Garage auxiliary tank. I'm going to go. It's got the B&B bash plate already, which I'm really happy about. They're a good brand, good Australian brand. I've got a B&B rear rack for it to go on the back as well, so that'll be fantastic. And from there, probably not too much else. A quad lock. Just got a new seat ordered for it, a Power Parts Ergo seat. And just a better mirror, a quad lock, a double take mirror, and that's basically going to be it. I am going to replace the exhaust. It's a GPR exhaust, an Italian brand made in Italy but marketed out of England. I'm going to replace that with a Wings exhaust, just because that exhaust is a little bit quieter. I can't seem to find spare parts and get a baffle for it, so I've just decided to go for a new exhaust and a Wings exhaust. So that's it, guys. This is the new project. We're going to get into this right now. I'm going to wheel it into the shed, and it's starting to rain here, can't believe it. I'm going to wheel this into the shed, and I'm going to start pulling it down, and I'm going to start, like I said, needs a bit of a clean up as well. Give it a good clean up and start to fit all the Rade Garage stuff and a couple of other bits and pieces that I've got for it. So g'day guys, a bit of progress here. Just got out here yesterday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, just to start working on it. Basically stripped it down and just started fitting some stuff. Got the tower sort of fitted up, and that went really well. I'll do a review on the towers compared to the Nomad ADV, but certainly the Rade Garage towers are plug and play, but yeah, really went well. It's a really easy thing to fit. Yeah, wiring was a little bit challenging, but just had to be a little bit patient and just make sure you direct it. So I've got it sort of stripped down now. I've got the new airbox in it. I made up a little airbox cover. Just going to give it a real good wash. If you have a look close in here, I don't think it's ever had a decent clean in its life. So just while I got it apart, I'll give it a decent clean. You look down here around the counter shaft. And yeah, she's pretty grotty and yucky, so yeah, we'll just give her all a good clean, and while I've got it apart, and then I'll fit the auxiliary tank and probably then start putting it back together. Got a few bits and pieces to put on it, got a new exhaust coming, yeah, what else have I got coming? Oh, just the, that's right, the double take mirrors, but other than that, it can probably go back together for the most part, and I'll probably even put it back together with that exhaust on it. But yeah, we'll get the gurney fired up and give it a good clean while it's apart, and yeah, and then we'll start finishing off the auxiliary tank and the tower, and we'll see how it comes up. So some of the vids you were watching, guys, were last week. Bit of a mad rush. Picked the bike up one week and went away the following week. So I fitted the Rade tower and the auxiliary tank, and just quickly put it back together and took it away for a 3-day ride weekend. So I was a bit nervous, but hadn't changed the oil or done anything like that. Done a couple of bits and pieces to it and sort of tidied up some wiring. But overall, I really hadn't done too much to the bike. But it went really well. I was really pleased. I blacked out the rear rack here, the B&B rack, and you can see with all the wear and tear on the weekend, it copped a bit of a hide, but that's all right. The way I blacked it out is so I can touch it up quite easily. So that'll get touched up over the next couple of days. My Power Parts seat hadn't come in when I left, so I was riding the other seat, which was a bit uncomfortable. That Power Parts seat looks a lot better. You can see some wear marks here from where the panniers were rubbing on, all that sort of stuff. I'll buff those out, that'll come up all right. But yeah, the bike went really well, really pleased. It's certainly as agile, if not more agile than the Beta 480. So really pleased. I will do a formal review, and when I finish all the other last bits and pieces to it, I'll do a bit of a photo shoot. My son's a fairly handy photographer, so we'll get some decent photos of it, and you can see how it comes up. A couple of more things to go on. We've got some handguards, and once again, guys, excuse the mess here. I'm sort of midway through a few projects at the moment, and got a Wings exhaust to go on. So they're the last couple of things. Some foam grips and I'll be pretty squared away and happy with it. So anyway, guys, we'll finish those off, and then, as I say, we'll do a formal review. There'll also be a ride video from the weekend that we've just done too. It was a great weekend with a friend of mine, Brendan, and yeah, did a lot of sand riding. The bike handled it bloody beautifully. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening, and I hope to see you out on the trail soon.